live now. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Let me ba-ding, bing, ding, bing, ba-ding, 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 bing. Now we're all able to talk. How are you? Good morning or good evening. What day is it? Have another beer. I think I will. We just had a little rock and roller come through California. Not too bad. But Japan's been bouncing all day, and Iceland had an earthquake, and the sun's been kicking a turd out the earth, and yeah, it's a busy one. It's a busy one, and Japan don't know where to come and where to go, yeah, I don't know what else. Iceland had an earthquake today, and although it's not on USGS, it's always the freaking yeah. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rabbit Hole. And I know, let me start the recording over here. Good morning or good evening. Good evening. I'm always saying good morning, but good evening. It might be good morning to Simply Sue. She's out there. Good evening, Timmy. Good evening, Walleye King. Good evening, Susan. Good evening, Flutter Girl. Good evening, Quake Cat. Good evening, Canuck. Good evening or morning, Simply Sue. She's allowed down under, you know. And hey, Lurch is here. Hey, Shinobi Coon 77. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rabbit Hole. You're looking at the planet right now and all the earthquakes for the last 7 days. And we just popped in just now with a P&G 4.7. Oh, all right. But can you boys hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yep, we're good.
All right. It's good. It's good. I don't even know how to be here. Well, yes, she's still talking about the dead baby deer. Fit hit the shan over there. I know it's sad. I don't know what'll make her not think about it. Shoot. I don't know. I can't help you. Sorry. 5x5. All righty. All right. We are 5x5. Let's see here. I got to do one more thing here. It's under here, and it's there, and it's there, and it's there. All right. So let me put a pause on it. Come on now. There we go. And share my screen. Oh, I understand. Don't show me again. Yeah. There we go. Loading it. There we go. All righty then. Here we go. Hopefully it's right volume. Hi, I'm Joe of the Joe Slick Live Show. My interactive live show is on twitch.tv/Joe Slick Live. Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and occasionally in the evenings at 7. During the live show, I review and talk about reports from government, private, and other reporting agencies and websites regarding celestial and terrestrial phenomena. Topics will include solar flares, sunspots, geomatic storms, and near-Earth asteroids and comets that are being monitored around the world. Included in the report is current events in the last 12 to 24 hours here on Earth, consisting of volcanic, seismic, and weather events. I close the morning report off with what's happening in the local and world news. Thank you, and you can be a part of the morning report by going to twitch.tv/Joe Slick Live. Look forward to seeing you there, and remember, don't get none on you. And make sure you subscribe, like, and share, and hit the bell button just so you get notified when we do go live over there on YouTube. Love you. Thank you for listening to that little tidbit of information. And how you boys doing?
Good.
Yeah. How's the kids?
Oh, all right there. Had fun yesterday because we watched more scary movies because I always like watching scary movies when I'm there for some reason. Why?
Really?
Yeah.
Just take them down the street and, cast out a demon or two.
Yeah. That's what they like, I guess. They're into getting into the scary movies now.
Hey, Eden, how are you? Well, Good. Nice to see you there. What else we got? Nothing's happening on the thing. Nothing is going on in Israel and around the Middle East right now. I think it's pretty quiet. Japan's bouncing like crazy. I mean, 4.3, 4.5 here just not too long ago. And a 3.
Yeah, and we've had 2 M1s here in the last 2 hours.
Right. Yeah, and the solar stuff is just, off the dang chart. For our sunspot report, Earthside sun just hit its highest sunspot number, 299, more than the last 20 years. The far side sunspot count might even be higher. The helioseismic maps on the far side of the sun reveal a vast areas of potential sunspot activity. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Jeez, crazy. We've had an M5 and an M1 flare in the last 24 hours. Solar wind right now is 502. Proton density per cubic meter is 5.5 on average. And 62 fireballs across North America. Yep. Those are aliens coming in and out, right? And KP index is a little over 2 at the moment. There's no significant coronal hole to give us any wind. However, we do have wind because of what's been going on from the sun. It's not solar wind. I mean, it is solar wind, but it's from the blasting of a flare.
The flare.
Yeah, the flare, the boss, the plane, the flare. As we look at them right now. Oh, people out there can't see it. So let me. Where is it? All right. So I gotta go like this. There we go. And
look at that red blast coming at us.
Right. So I'm going to share this with everybody out there. Screen. There it is. All right. Hold on a second. Share on screen. There you go, everybody. Sorry over there in YouTube and the other places. Twitch has got it earlier than you, but hang in there. We're on top of it. My guest today are Canuck, better known as New Brunswick, Canada guy, and Walleye King, better known as Luke Klimmer. And look at 1, 2, 3, 4. God bless America. And then there's a lot of wind. Down here on the bottom is the wind. On the top is the radiation and the plasma. 1, 2, 3. And how many licks does it take to eat that popsicle?
Well, we were supposed to get one last night too, but it missed us, I guess.
Yeah, I think it did.
But now there's 4 other ones shot at us, I guess. But I read earlier.
Yeah.
See.
It's been wild. And you can see all the red and the orange here and the yellow down below in the sideways shot. This is the top shot. This is the sideways look. So when it comes out the sun, you can see here's that big old wind burst. And that's where we're at now in that wind burst. And I can't believe the KP is only, 2.3?
But it's not like 1946, because I was looking back at that today, and there's a bunch of KP9s.
Yeah, and they're only calling for a little less than a KP index of 6.
Yeah,
on the map side.
So it's crazy stuff. Because now they have all that data, they've converted it. It's on the Space Weather Live site. So you have to look it up by year, and they have like the top 50 geostorms by year.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like them.
Yeah. So you have to go in and look it up, and it gives like all the dates. And
yeah, top 50 geometric storms. Here we go.
Yeah. And it gives the max KP that it got to, and it gives it by like every so many hours, like what it was.
Yeah. So should we do a solar cycle? Okay. Solar cycle 23, and they're always talking about 23 because 24 sucked. 23 was pretty active. And then 23 in November had KP9s. Oh, yeah. Oh, sevens. 7 pluses and 8 minus, 9 minuses. I guess the 9 minus might be it was in the south. I'm not sure.
No, it would be an 8.67.
Yeah, that's how they do it. It's like even and plus and minus. That's how they put it in in the
If it's
chart.
like a 9 plus, it would be 9.33. If it's
Yeah.
a 9 minus, it's 8.67
Then why do they put a 9 there?
because it's just a number. They
Yeah.
can't go 8 plus plus.
Okay. All right. It's just a
Yeah.
number.
Yeah,
Just-
that's
just
how they
the-
do it. But
Just a little tidbit too for you guys. On this day for solar flares right now, 2024 has taken first place through fourth place, with an M5.2 being number 1 and number 4 being an M1.2. Number 5 spot would be in 2001 with an M1.15.
Yeah, the M5 happened 24 hours ago. 2:35. Right now we are 2:15. So almost 24 exactly hours ago. So, and I know that they don't see it. So let me share the screen again. Yeah, this is dun, 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 dun. There we go. All right, these are the last 3 days of flares. Here is a pretty good little M burst, a 4.5. This is the M5.25. And then we had another M. Then we had another M, another M. Oh, did it make it M? No, 879. 98. Boy, that was close. And that one? 96. Oh my gosh. And then today we've already had two M's, two M1s. And that's pretty intense because get this, we are now 30% chance for an X. 80.
Yes, it went up another 5% today.
Yes, it did. So we've already had, I don't know how many X's we've had in the 1X, 2X, 3X already in the last 7 days. And generally speaking, when that happens, we get a 7.6 or better somewhere in the world. Just saying, not saying it's going to happen, but generally speaking, that's what happens.
well, I don't. I don't think it happens till the geomagnetic storm hits and then makes it come out more. That's what I think.
Well, that's what we're in right now, geomagnetic storm. So,
but the more powerful the geomagnetic storm, the more it forces the energy out from the core.
Right.
Yep.
That's what I think.
Sounds like a good supposition.
And now I can look at the quake dates and go back and find the geomagnetic storm dates on the same year. So I've been doing that lately. It's pretty interesting. Because what it appears to me is you get several geomagnetic storms, like one right after the other, or very close together. Mm-hmm. And then that's what makes it bump up into 8s and 9s.
Well, what about that 576-foot rock that flew through our area?
Well, it could be that too, but we don't have data going back as far with all that stuff as we do the other stuff.
I mean, today is the 10th. That sucker just buzzed us today. Of course, 4 million miles out there, 14.6 lunar distances, but in the what do you call that? 14.2. Let me tell you, 14.2 multiplied by was it 400? No, 384. So 384,401 multiplied by 14.2 is 5,458,000 kilometers. That ain't a lot. No. And miles, that's 3.4 million miles. And the moon is a quarter of a million miles. So do the math. It's not that far out there. And this damn rock was how big? 576 foot across. So darn near 6 foot or 3 football fields, right? 300 feet. That's 2, right? 2 football fields across. Long wise. Can you imagine? That's like what? What is it? What do you call it? How many feet is it? 570, right? So call it 575. divided by 15. That's 38-story building. Just flew by. It's like,
Easy.
it's like, what? The freaking 38-foot story building just drove, right by us. Oh man, that's just. If that don't make your cheeks pucker, I don't know what will. Don't fly in a plane. I know you won't, Luke.
Nope. Don't have to worry about that.
I've never been in a plane yet, but if I want to, I want it to be a fighter jet.
No, you don't. Because they're worse planes than the normal planes, tell you the truth. They're more deadly. They can handle some G-forces, but yeah. I mean, you can fly in one. You can just pay the money and fly in one. You're not going to go far.
No, I want to actually fly one. See if I can do as good as the fake Ukrainians that are not actually Ukrainians. They're actually NATO.
you think the pilots are fake Ukrainians?
Yeah, I think all the people that are invading Ukraine right now aren't NATO or aren't Ukrainian. I think they're actually from NATO.
Oh, the ones that went into Russia?
Yep. By everything I'm reading and studying.
I don't know about that. Well,
and there's a reason why they just let Norway and Sweden and Finland in too. So now I know what's behind that.
Did they do that today?
No, but they did like just the last year or two.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, Sweden. I think they just let in here a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, so there's a reason behind that.
Yeah,
and it's a reason from World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting.
Well, I think Putin's had his fun. He's killed a freaking 500,000 people, if not more. Is he evil? I think he is.
But I
think he's right by trying to knock out that sumbitch who's running over there? Kind of, I do.
But what's interesting is all the good Russian equipment's not in Russia right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to know where it is.
Is it in Canada?
No.
In Mexico, right?
No.
Oh.
They have the old crappy stuff too.
Yeah.
You don't want to know where the good stuff is right now. Well,
where's the good stuff?
Everybody will find out by tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. Wait, I know the Russians are in what country?
Russia?
No, they're in Belarus. I know that's where the guys are at, but I don't know that. I don't think he's going to go into Finland. He might go into Estonia.
Yeah, and these new Ukrainian brigades or divisions, you'll never guess what stuff they have.
Well, look. You just enlighten us, please. Just enlighten us while we're looking at this.
They have the new NATO European Union Army tech that's AI. That's what controls all the drones and all their weapons they're using to target everything.
Well, the Russians been able to knock those down, though.
No, not right now. The Russians they're blowing them all to pieces right now in Russia, but all the good Russian stuff is not even there. Russia has no air support. There's no their good helicopters or anything even there right now. So they have older ones, but they're all getting blown out of the sky. 3 more airfields got taken out today.
Really? I know
Russia,
they're really close to Moscow, but I didn't think they were in. These sons of bitches. I mean, somebody's got to shoot. Somebody has to take.
But
out
it's not Ukraine. It's all NATO stuff. It's just they're using the Ukraine thing as a cover. Because it's all this new tech stuff.
I know they're
the Russian POWs that they caught there and have taken back across the border into Ukraine. They said all their stuff stopped working, all their radios and everything they had. And so they just quit because they couldn't do anything because there was people coming at them from everywhere.
The whole purpose for Russia going over there was over here, Lugansk or Luke, what is that? down the river. There it is. I want to say, is it Dnipropetrovsk or whatever? The iron, the huge iron plants that the Russians were going after them. They couldn't get the guys out, so they just started bombing everything. But that's why the Russians took that, because it's massive. I mean, man, they make ships there. It's
They got
massive.
massive deposits of iron ore there, don't they?
Yeah. So
Well, and all the big Russian Antonov cargo planes have been flying into 3 places now for weeks: Lebanon, Syria, and Iran.
yeah. And guess
Isn't
what?
Poland all
Guess what?
jacked up?
What went dry here 6 months ago? The only one's going to know that is you, Canuck.
Oh, well, the
The
oil
Tigris.
pipelines.
Tigris.
Yeah. And the
And the Euphrates.
Euphrates
It went
are all dry. Yeah.
Yeah. A prophecy again.
Yeah, well, it's all the same thing.
Who's going to put the hook in his jaw and yank his ass down into
the hook in the jaw is already
yeah,
into
the
effect
hook
by
might be
everything.
set. Depends on what Turkey does, because he has to go through Turkey.
Yeah,
Or-
well, Turkey's already part of it.
Yeah. Turkey's already threatening.
Turkey, Iran, and Russia are the 3 that are coming there right now, and that's why Wagner's been in Africa. And
Well,
then
Wagner got wiped out.
some of them, yeah, but
Yeah,
there's
most
other
of
ones that went over to Venezuela too. And
Well,
now
all Wagner is they realized what was going on in Russia, that they were sending off these troops, that it was a hoax.
but now they're bringing them all back because of what's happening in Russia right now.
Right. But see, they swore against working for Russia.
But Wagner's the paid ones, right?
Yeah. But see, the Wagners,
Mercenary
I mean, they already killed their leader. He turned on the damn Russians, and Russians were going to kicked his ass. But they were kicking Russian ass. So I don't know.
But the Russian ones that are there right now that are getting run over, they're all the conscripts and the poor ones.
Mhm.
Don't know what they're doing.
Well, Ukraine is putting a serious hurt on the Russians for sure, but there's a lot of Ukrainians dying. Russia has taken all the way to the Dnieper River, except for up by Kiev. That's what's left. When Kiev falls, the thing's over. If Russia, I mean, they got a lot of military in Belarus. If they just sent it into Kiev, the fight's over.
Well, what they're going to do, or what the next thing is 800,000 soldiers are coming in right through Poland, going right into Russia. That's the next plan.
Yeah.
But Sweden and them is another plan.
Right. Well, I don't think Russia was.
Today.
I don't think Russia was planning on that. The Swedes and the Finlands, they're tough. They just sent a bunch of troops down into Ukraine. Sweden did, or a bunch of military. I think that's where they got the F-16, to tell you the truth. And we just sent 12 F-22s. I think we're probably going to send more.
I thought they were.
Huh?
I thought they were F-35s.
No, they sent the F-35s there. I mean, Israel has a bunch of F-35s. The F-22s, we sent 12 of them. And I want to say they're in Syria right now. Am I right?
Jordan. The F-22s.
Jordan. Yeah.
But the Swedes, Finns, and Norwegians have a new stealth fighter that they just said that they have. So now the Russians are all paranoid about that. So I don't even know what it's called. But
I looked at it the other day. All of these stealths, and the F-22 is a 5th gen, not a 6th gen fighter. There's not very many 6th gen fighters out there. The Russians have half a dozen of them, and I think 4 of them were already shot down. And China has a good 30 of theirs, and maybe even 40 that are operational. So I don't know what the chuck, but I don't know why Iran hasn't done a whole lot, but I do know that from what I heard was a couple its airports were knocked out. Then the next thing I hear is a couple Russian airports were knocked out. And I'm not sure that that's true. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So, I mean,
Well, there were supposed to be 3 other ones taken out today by all the stuff I'm just reading.
right? I mean, they came within pretty close to Moscow.
Yeah, well, right now the Russians have no air support to support their troops that they're sending in to counteract this Ukrainian.
Well, I heard that
advance.
they had air support. Not the. I heard the reverse. What you just said. That they do have air support, and
I
that's
haven't
when they're able to push back what was going
seen
on.
it on any of the videos.
Oh, you've seen videos then?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's weird.
Taken by the actual Russian people that are recording it on their cell phones and stuff.
Yeah. Idaho Batholith tomorrow, Sunday, August 11th at 5 p.m. Pacific. Be here. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have another, I mean, back to what we do here. I just saw his ad just come in Nick Zentner. Mm-hmm. It's pretty darn good. I loved last week's. It was great. And
yeah, good episode.
Yeah. I'm not seeing any videos of anything happening in the Middle East yet, but we just don't know, right?
No, well, based upon all the stuff I'm looking at, it's probably going to be later tomorrow because Israel's 6 hours ahead of us, or 6 hours of
yeah.
where I am.
We watch nighttime. Yeah. Israel's waiting for the attack from Iran. There's one guy every time he's on. I just remove him every time, and he still comes back. I just said, remove him again. I just don't like, because I know, he just turned my stomach one time.
And tomorrow night's almost is the start of the 9th of Av too. So.
Oh, the nice 9th of, oh yeah. I know that Ronald Reagan just left San Diego today. And that's a Nimitz class aircraft carrier. Has three squadrons, I think, on there. Oh, we have a monsoon here, baby. We definitely have a monsoon. It is dark outside. I have a tornado warning too right now.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
We need to send all that
It's
weather
not to me. It's in
to Northern California
away.
Where they now have a big fire right by Redding. I just saw that earlier. Here an hour.
Well, I hope tornado expires in 9 minutes. Yavapai County. Hail, 1 inch hail. Oh man. Maricopa has 3/4 inch hail.
Well, what's left of Debbie here stopped over Montreal and stayed there.
Still good. Hopefully it drowns that frog you got sitting there in the power.
Well, he's probably not there.
He's Frenchy. He's not even real Canadian.
He's probably out on Vancouver Island at Tofino waiting for the big tsunami to get him. Because that's where his vacation place is in the summer.
Yeah. Well, with his boyfriend? I heard his wife left him.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's been left him here back a while ago, a year or two ago.
Yeah. She found out that he's queer.
But when she got COVID, she was over in Europe before, and he got it and wasn't anywhere near her. So I think they haven't been together for longer than what they say.
Right. Well, I don't want any marriage to fall apart. I think it's terrible, but your leaders like our leader. They're bullshit.
Well,
Mm,
every
I know.
leader's pretty much that way. That's how it is. I don't think it's going to get any better either.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There are so many different.
Oh yeah, and Ernesto's coming next. Yeah, next.
Ernesto. All right.
Yeah, the next tropical system.
Yeah. It's dark skies above me right now. Really, really dark. But I don't know. There's some lightning. I just hear some thunder just now, but that's why I looked up there. It's kind of bypassing me again. It's weird, dude. It comes right over our head. It's like all red and yucky, and then it just fizzles out. You know?
Yeah. So Ernesto's supposed to be near Florida again by next weekend.
Oh no. Oh.
So 7 days out. That's what they're saying right now, but we'll see what it does.
Yeah. There's a shitload of F-35s everywhere. I don't know how they made all these F-35s.
Well, Canada just ordered 88, but they're not being delivered till the first ones aren't till 2026. So once again, we're about 5 years behind everybody else.
Uh-oh. Yeah. That's not real, is it? That's an F-22. I'm looking at some airplanes right now. Sometimes you got to watch what you see on some of these channels, because a lot of bogus shit, and they show fighting and stuff like that, and yet they're not real fight. They look real, but they're not. They have a lot of video of the F-22. There's a new super jet that's supposed to replace the Raptor and the F-22. My favorite plane. China has a pretty darn good one too, you know.
The J-20.
Yeah, the J-20. It's a stealth fighter with our technology. Yeah. It is so advanced, some of this stuff, but it's got to be hardened too. So you get an EMP and everything falls from the sky, even the satellites. I don't know. The drone footage that you see coming across the wires, on YouTube, completely devastating.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It looks like Russia's just getting their ass handed to them. And you can see the guys, when they get bumped, they see the guys say, oh, shit. They leap out of their damn things and they're running.
Yeah, well, the Russians have drones and stuff too, but they're just not as good as the Western ones.
No. And the Western ones only cost $1,000.
Yeah.
A little more, but yeah.
Because I've seen them. There's videos of the Russian ones attacking the Ukraine stuff too, but right now the ones that Ukraine are using are way better.
Well, the technology is there. Ukrainians are they're Russian people. I've known a few Ukrainians. The girls are out of this freaking world of beautiful. I think a lot of everywhere there's beautiful women, but the guys are pretty cool. Romania, the guys are pretty cool. Hungarians, cool. Czech, fantastic people. All this hate, this division that it's in the world today, and yet the people themselves are nice. It's just the governments.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. Like a lot of the stuff that I've been watching is like the Russian civilians are like filming all the stuff with their cell phone and then putting it online. That's what they're doing. So that's all this stuff that I'm watching. And like they'll be on the road, on the highway, the main highway there. It's only like 2 lanes in Russia. So they don't have like 4-lane highways. Like their main ones are like are 2-lane roads. So they're not even technically interstates. But so they were showing like they're out driving, and then all this military equipment's like coming down the road going to wherever, because that's the only way that they have of getting it there, right? Because they don't have like a big massive 4-lane highway like what Europe has or what North
Right.
America has. And they're all trying to get all this support equipment to where Ukraine is supposedly coming in now. But what's funny is Ukraine, to get in there so fast, they're using the MRAPs and the Striker vehicles because they're super fast, and everything that Russia has is super slow, right? Because if it's
Right.
tanks or heavy stuff, they have to move it on transport trucks
Right.
and all that
And they
stuff.
hit some of the tanks and not tanks, gas tanks, storage facilities inside of Russia, and now they run out of gas, and bam, they're done.
Yeah.
You little drone, and they set traps for these guys. It's devastating to watch people die.
But the Russians are all driving around in their cars, so they must have.
Yeah, and they hit the cars
gas.
too. I watched vans get mauled. It's like, what the hell? And right in the windshield, the sucker goes right in the windshield, boom, explodes all the guys out of there. And it's like, there in that war, it is incredible amount of deaths. I mean, I think I've easily just physically seen the amount of people physically died. Probably, and I've seen maybe 30 videos. I bet you I've seen every bit of 3,000 people die. Just dead.
Yeah, it's probably more than that.
Right, but I'm trying to be realistically, because I see a tank blow up, that's 3 to 5 guys. I see a troop carrier, that's 8 to 10, 12 guys. And I see this thing all day long. And I going, holy smokes. I mean, the war that we have today is so devastating. You can't hide from it unless you're buried in the damn ground. I mean, deep. And then what do? You can't shoot your weapon.
Well, I don't even know if that even works.
That's what I mean. I mean, what do you do? It's going to become so automated with what do you call it? Like, what was that? Those movies, Terminator.
Yeah.
The Terminators are coming.
Well, and Russia invaded Ukraine 2 years ago, and they basically got nowhere since.
Honestly, I don't think that's true. I think they've almost met their objective. If we look at Ukraine here on the map, which we already see in it, from this river all the way down, that's what they wanted. And they've got a majority of it. Unfortunately for Ukraine. And it,
yeah,
the Donbass is gone.
To me, if they knew what they were doing, they should have already been to Kiev and all that a long time ago.
Again, Russia has never been at the high tech like the West, right? Russia never cared because they just throw bodies at you. That's how they won World War II. Their equipment is substandard, and they don't have the same level of they have incredible discipline, but old style of weapons. They are basically a Korea era, like a Gen 3 country, but they have a ton of weaponry. But the problem is, it's like you bring one F-22 into a battle, it can knock out 10 planes, and maybe it gets a loss and maybe it don't, because most of the time the planes don't even see it. I think they can put in like 4 to 6 AMRAAMs. That's 120 miles away. And then a couple of Sidewinders, which is like 16 miles away. And then the Vulcan cannon. And you don't know it's there because you can't see it.
Well, and like a lot of the stuff that has just been in the last few hours, I assume it's all based on satellite stuff, because it's
right.
It's NATO, the US, French, British, Israel, all of them saying the same thing. So they can see that all these things are moving into place in all those other countries around them.
Right.
And they all started talking about it today. So they can see all that stuff that's moving into position for them to be able to fire whatever they're going to fire at them. But it's good this time. It's not only be just coming from Iran. It's going to be coming from Syria, Hezbollah, and probably Iraq. I don't know about the Houthis or not. Probably, but and it could be coming from other ones too, like because there's been Russian planes flying into Libya and stuff too, Russian cargo planes.
And cargoes into Libya, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's far out.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching it all now because all the flight
Right.
radars and all that stuff there
Right,
is.
and flight radar, yeah, watch that shit, yeah.
And there's a bunch of other people watching it, and everybody's all talking in the same chat things that I'm in, and they say, "Look, this is going on here. This is flying here." Like they talk about the tail numbers, and they watch where it comes from. And then they're saying, "Well, this is abnormal because they usually don't fly here that much because it's people from that watch this stuff all the time, right? So then they can know if there's something different." And then everybody's getting into all the NOTAM things now. And now the next 3 days, all the Russian ones and the Iranian ones are all lining up for the same times, and they weren't doing that before. They were all different. So that's interesting too. So people were saying, look, this one matches this one, even though it's in Russia time, but it's the same time as what it is in Iran time. So why are these all matching up their same things, which they haven't done before? So there's all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Like this is it's just wild because it's like the same thing that I'm trying to do with all this other stuff. It's like I got to be like right on top of everything all the time, or you're going to get left behind because it's just
yeah. Right now, I'm looking at the latest thought. Okay. Is the Ukrainian losses are about 800 tanks. The Russians have lost over 3,000.
Yeah.
When they had like 5,600 to 7,800 tanks. That's where they started with. And not everyone is operational. So you got to figure about 80% or 75%, even 70% of your number. If you got 5,000, then you got to figure, you're somewhere at 4,300 operational tanks. And everything costs, $8 million or more for these things. This is a super expensive war for Russia. And I don't know why they're doing it. They could have sent a team out to snuff that little faggot in the office. I don't know why they didn't. I think they have a different agenda.
Well, I think they're trying to do something to save themselves, but I don't think it's going to work because there's too much. And then China is like super quiet.
Yeah, have you noticed that? Yeah. China went quiet the last 2 weeks.
They might already decided, well, we're going to let Russia, Iran, and Turkey take the run of this for right now. Then we'll see what happens after that.
Well, I don't think they have a deal yet to join that, but
they have deals, but it's just like anything else. It's how far are you going to go honoring the deal?
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Well, Su-57, that's Russia's top notch. I don't think they've got 25 of them, but I know they've lost a few already.
Well, one of those bases, the M1, whatever the name is, I can't remember. It's M, a big long name. That was the one where all the Su-57s were, but they're not there.
Right.
Because they already had pictures of it, and there was no Su-57s there, so I don't know where on earth they went to. But they're not using them right now in Russia, so I don't know where they took them.
I think they moved them back away from the front. because some of the missiles, they're getting them shot down.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, there was other planes there, but not the good ones.
all right.
So I don't know. It's wild stuff anyway. But I'm like approaching it the same way as when I'm doing all my historical stuff. Because I've studied World War II so much, it's almost like they're doing the same plans again, except now it's with added tech, AI, and drones. And then I got reading the whole history of Finland, Sweden, and Norway, and why they wanted to join NATO, and what the whole purpose. And this has been a thing that's been going on for 20 years, where they've been wanting to get into NATO, and they had to make all these agreements. And the reason why they were let in is for an actual reason. What it actually is to open another way to invade Russia. That's what it is.
Yeah, I guess it's coming over the wires now. Russia claims to wipe out a Ukrainian unit during operation in Nikolaev region.
Well, there's two other places where they've come across the border from Ukraine now, besides the first one.
Right. I'm looking.
But I don't think it's Ukraine. I think it's NATO. Because it seems weird to me. Because here, not too long ago, they had no troops at all. Ukraine had nothing. They were like grabbing people off the street to go get them to fight in the Ukraine army.
Here, Russia's again witnessed the power of U.S. Ukrainian F-16s wiped out of Putin's main base 3 days ago.
Yeah. Well, and there's been all sorts of videos of the F-16s.
Moscow airport disrupted by drone attack a year ago. I'm just looking for...
Like the drone thing has been going on for a long time now.
Right. I don't know what's...
But now some of these airports, the air bases, they've been attacking like 3 days in a row. So
Putin
three different groups of drones attacking it. Like
this radio was at Times Radio's reporting, Putin will resort to bombarding his own towns to counter Ukrainian advance.
Oh yeah, well there's rumors he's going to use the tactical nukes on Russian soil to stop them. Well, if he can, but I'm not so sure that's going to work. Because he's actually fighting the AI, and the AI doesn't care about what you're trying to do. Its whole thing, its focus is to destroy you.
Crazy. The video of that plane in Brazil that came down, they got video of it. It is.
Yeah, somebody said there was 8 doctors on it that were working on the cure for cancer.
Yeah, I mean, the plane is done.
Yeah.
They all died. I'm watching the plane fall from the sky. It's like the ailerons were completely off. I think a bomb took it out.
Probably.
The way it was falling, it was like no power, and it's like coming straight down on, not like a dive, but it was spinning in a flat spin.
Because they were going to some conference, and these 8 doctors in Argentina, I think it was Argentina. So they were like flying either to Argentina or flying from Brazil to Argentina. I can't remember. Oh, there's all sorts of stuff. Like it's just something all the time, right? Just one thing.
Yeah.
From one thing to the next. So it's all sorts of crazy things going on.
But people like this guy here on Geology Hub, I struggle with some of the things that he talks about. I mean, putting out there a report that the really big one, the feared Cascade 9 earthquake, I think in all reality, when we've talked about it, I don't think we've ever said it was going to be a 9. I think we come to the conclusion based on the last report that came out, a big letter, which was really good, that there are sectors, and that if one, creates the other and creates the other, then creates the other, then it's a totality of a rip. And then the biggest one will be at the end, just like it does in Chile. But the likelihood of it is not very likely.
Well, it's the same as the Nankai Trough, because they say for it to make a 9, it has to be pretty much all the segments. But otherwise, if it's 2 or 3 segments going at a time, then it makes like in the 8s. So it's the same idea. Like, I find it funny. And in that study, the new Cascadia one, that's what it says. It said that it has like segments similar to Nankai Trough. It even says that in the study when you read down through it. So basically, they're saying it's very, very similar to Nankai Trough. It's just that some of the segments may be bigger than the Nankai Trough ones. And that's basically what they're doing. But I've read all the newer ones on Nankai Trough, and they're saying there should be a 6th segment, and it's the one under Tokyo. So,
Tokyo today has been bouncing. I mean, literally bouncing.
Yeah, the quakes are all going around where they would say around the edges of where they'd say that 6th segment is.
Like here, if I did live again, we've had a 4.3 at 9:38. 7:42, we had a 4.5.
Like, they wouldn't have issued that alert unless their computer model told them that.
Right. I think the Japanese are more reserved than some people give them credit for.
Because they made that computer model, they started using it in 2022. So it's 3 years old now almost. Because I just read the 2022 study on it again. And it had all the historical information going way back, all in it. Because I read it, they had like a chart in it that had all the Nankai trough quakes going way back, and then they had like different things like where the 6.8s and 7s were, like before it happened, because they had before it actually did what it did. And so that's why they made that warning. They wouldn't have done it if the computer model didn't give them that indication. And they're putting everything in it. They put the ETS in it. They put all the historical data in it. They put, like, whenever a new quake happens, so like the 7.6 at Noto there, that would have been all entered in there back at the start of the year. And then this new 7.0, 7.1 would have put in there.
Right.
And that's what they're actually using. I've been trying to explain it to a bunch of different people because they've been asking me about it. And I said, look, you can go and read this one. I said, it's explaining what it's doing. And I said they wouldn't have put that in there unless it was their, well, I don't even know. It could be friggin' AI. It might be AI too. It's for sure a computer model, but because the Japan is doing all sorts of wild, crazy stuff. They're like more advanced with quakes than anybody. So if they're saying something, they have a valid reason why they're doing it. They're not just making it up out of nowhere, or it's not somebody with a personal bias. It's what their computer model is saying. So, and like I've talked to different people that are like into earthquakes and stuff, and I said, well, do you know that they have this computer model? And they said, no, we didn't know that. I said, well, here, I listed like a bunch of different studies that's talking about it. Because like I'm like a Nankai Trough lunatic.
I know. Well, that's kind of where the direction I wanted to go tonight, but
because historically that's what they've always been worried about. They haven't been worried about up the other part.
Right. Now the last time Nankai Trough went was 43, right, or thereabouts.
No, 46, 44.
46, yeah.
Double 1854, 1707. They think that one was a 9. Multiple, all segments going. But it went off before that too. Now I haven't looked up them yet, but I will eventually. Now that I have my thing, I can go back to the year 1000, see if I can figure stuff out.
Japan is like Godzilla; it might get loose.
Yeah, because I went back to 1854 and saw today, and using my global historical earthquake archive thing, and I saw all the pretty triangles. Because I didn't realize, like in that thing, it's like a gigantic spreadsheet. You can click like on them, and it starts putting it on the map. And
Yes, sir.
I did them in order, like every year I was looking at. Because some have like more. Because in the global historical earthquake archive, they're picking 1, 7, and above, going way back to like the year 1000. So I could click on them, and then it shows me on the world map. And I just did them in order, and it was making triangles for freaking time. All like it was making them like close together on one side of the planet.
Well,
And that's what it was doing. And so it was just listing like anything that was 7 and above, going way back to year 1000. So I just went into these years because I wanted to see, I want to see if my theory is still working even like 1,000 years ago.
well, there's going to come a time where I'm going to ask you to prove your theory, only because I don't see it. I'm glad you do, because I'm not as bright as you. I might be a little more dull, or I might be just bright in a different area.
Because it has to do is how the energy comes up from the core.
I got you. I respect you saying that. And I'm more inclined to think that that's part of it. But the end result is that you see triangles in the end result. And it's random, the triangle.
Not really.
I know, but we're because it would we've got, and again, we're going to talk about it pretty good one day. Looking at just the 7 days here, we had Southern Cal, we've had Central Cal or Central America, we've had South America bumping. Fiji's going off the freaking hook. We've had a few up by Halmahera and Philippines. Then we've had Japan. Japan was quiet for a better part of this year.
Yeah, because it's filling in the triangle right now.
Yeah.
One part of the triangle, but there's another triangle.
But your triangle, is it a right triangle, or is it an isosceles, or is it
just a triangle?
Yeah. See, that's the part that
it can be small or it can be big depending on the charging that's happening.
So when you see a triangle, like let me just turn off the 7 days, one day. This is just today. You can see that today, there's, I think, and this got to be part of yesterday as well. Let me see what this is. We're on the 10th. No, that wasn't the 10th. So Vanuatu, or not Vanuatu, but the Loyalty Islands came in today. Popped in a 5.2 at 10 kilometers. That's an answer to what I was saying was happening over here in Fiji area. Fiji had a 403, 4.3. Tonga, 4.9 at 10 kilometers. These all three happen today. That's a triangle.
Yeah.
But Fiji. When you say, okay, well, the Papua New Guinea 4.7, well, that belongs to the triangle. What is it? 2 triangles? Or, how do we draw the lines?
Well, how I do it, I look, when I started doing this whole thing, I started with a year, right? Mm-hmm. So I base everything on a year. Right. So I look and see it's easier to see it, of course, with the larger quakes, because they're more obvious. But I think it's doing it with the smaller ones too. It's just making smaller triangles.
Sure.
But it's way easier to do it with the obvious ones, because you can see it doing that. Mm-hmm. So with the 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s, I've seen it do it with the 5s.
All right. We're going to go all the way down to 6. Okay. We're doing a 6 for 1 year. These are all the 6s in the world. Well, there's just too many of them. There's 128 earthquakes. Our little brains don't work that good. So I'm going to go to 7s. Right? Search. There are 11 7s. All right. In the world here on the map.
Well, let's just do 20 this year.
Just I did 23 to
24.
24. It from August to August.
Yeah.
Right here. This is your 7s and above. You know, so you have Japan, you have Taiwan, you have Philippines, you have Indonesia, you have Loyalty or Vanuatu, and you have China, and then 2 over in Chile and Peru. How do you determine the triangle?
Well, what I would do, I'd take with whatever the first one is in your list.
Okay,
So you're
hold
going
on
back.
here.
You're going back to August of last year.
Here's the newest. It's Indonesia, 7.1. The second one, Banda C, 7.1. 7.6 Philippines. There's a nice triangle.
Yeah.
Now, when we go to Vanuatu, is that a start of a new triangle?
No, it can be going off one of the other ones. See, what I would do, I'd start with August of 2023.
That's what I did. That's what I did.
See it going.
There's the Indonesian one right here. Then the next one is Indonesia, Banda C, bang. And then the Philippines, bang, 7.6.
Yeah.
Now, right before 7.6, I know there was a 7 that got downgraded to a 6.4. That's right there.
Yeah, they're usually close to where the bigger one is.
It was right here. So this one,
in time too.
Yeah, this one here that came in on this year. There was another one right there that got downgraded because it had a little tsunami that went in that little inlet.
Yeah, because you'll get other ones that are not as strong, closer,
right, and
to it.
And I'm thinking that somebody or some machine is downgrading these so that, I mean, if I do conspiratorial, you know.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it depends on which mags you're focusing on.
Right. Well, I'm doing 7 and above. Now, I know there's a missing 7 here. So, and it's within the same time because it happened right before the 7.6. All right. So it happened, the 7.6 happened last year, December. I think the other one happened in November, right there. And I could probably look it up, but you know, watch this crap. Search magnitudes. I'm going to do 6. Custom 3. Custom, let me draw the map. Philippines. Davao right here. All right, use this region. Yeah, search. There it is, 6.7. Here's the 7.6 up here. Hold on. Here's the 7.6 up here with its larger than 6s aftershocks. Here's the original quake. Happened to 6.7. It was in November 17, sorry. And then this one happened October 6.4. This one happened this year, January 8th. This one happened this year at March 8th. And then, of course, this one happened on July 11th.
Yeah, but even just it's making smaller triangles if you want to get
right, but you're how many different kinds of triangles are there?
Well, there's a triangle is made up of multiple triangles, right? Really, you can break it down.
But do you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to not play devil's advocate with you. I'm trying to see, well, somebody who doesn't see what you're saying, to have you explain what you're saying. Well, that's a triangle. Well, where's the triangle? I mean, I can draw lines on any one of these and make a triangle, but how do I know that that's what's going on?
Well, because it's done it so many times. Like when I've gone back through the historical ones, like if I go back to 2023, the early
we're here in 2023, looking right here, just in Davao. All right, the first quake happened here. This is 10-4.
So you're going October through.
So October January. Here, this first here, then it went to here, and that's 8th, and yeah. So it went from here to here to here to here to the big boy, then over to here, and then all these other ones. So it crisscrossed a big. So if we say the original was here,
Yeah, it alternates.
and then it went to here, then it went to here. These three was a big triangle, and there's offshoots of, aftershocks, what have you. Now I have to ask you, is why?
Because the whole thing is moving there. Once it starts moving with the first big one, it
But
adjusts.
why doesn't it do rectangle? Why does it do triangle?
I don't know. It just does triangles. It's something with how it comes. Because, see, it's all coming up from the core. And, like, we're looking down on it from the top.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what makes it do that. But, like, I don't know if it's like
right. Let's take your subject.
Like a magma plume or a tornado or whatever you want to call it. Or a toroid, like what Wally used to call it. It's all the same type of thing, right? It's like a cyclonic motion that comes up from the core. And to me, like, now that I've seen this so many times, because I'm going way back as far as we can have information on it, when I look it up, that's what it's doing.
All right.
So it's doing the same thing now. Like, I think it's always done it the same way. It's just we haven't been looking for that, or
all right, I'm taking the three,
saying it's random when it really isn't.
I'm taking the three quakes. I'm going to add a different color on the other ones that I think are like aftershocks.
And what's so weird is how we do all this stuff with the seismo stations. It's the same thing. We're actually using triangulation to figure out where the quake actually
happened. Yeah.
So we're using the same type of methods to figure out how this works. And that's how all our satellites and all this stuff all works. It's all freaking crazy, just whatever, right?
Right.
That's what we're doing with everything.
I respect what you're doing here.
It's just wild. Because, like, even how the satellites send the information back to the Earth and send it around to the other satellites, they're still using the same principle. They're using the triangulation of sending it from one satellite to the other satellite to get it around to send it down wherever the station is that they're trying to get it to. Well, it's the same thing with all this stuff. It's the tsunami buoys, the everything, right? Because it's still using satellite to send the information up. So everything is all this. It's just wild. Everything's freaking triangles. It's freaking nuts. Right. And it's because we're on things that are spherical or a globe, right? So you have to use triangulation in order to get anything to make things go from one part of the Earth to the other. That's basically what we're doing now with all our fancy dancy technology we have.
Right.
And why all of our cool towers we've ever made and the pyramids are all the same shape. It's all a pointy tower made of triangles. It's pretty crazy stuff. So whoever was making all that stuff, however many years ago it was, they had to understand how this worked because that's what they were doing. Like, why is that the most common thing, the pyramid shape? So this is how all this stuff all relates together, and it's freaking crazy. But that's what it's doing. So to me, it makes sense that all this stuff is probably working on the same principle.
All right, I have an image here. I'm going to share the image with you because here we go. Share screen window. Here we go. Share this. All right, and then come back to you.
That's why they put the all-seeing eye inside the triangle.
All right, so the all-seeing eye is in the triangle. Okay, here we go. All right, so you can see it starts here with 113 depth, 6.4. All right, then it goes to a 7.6 at a 40 depth, then a 7.1 at 627 depth. Now, it seems like it's lopsided on this end when you look at your triangle. So these sides here are deeper and this is more shallow. So this is the higher side, right? This is the side that's pushed up. This is pushed down. This is pushed real deep. Okay. So, and this one would not be as much. So we'll put 4, 5 there. So this is the super deep. This is the less deep, and then this is way less deep. It's 6.4 at 113 depth, 7.6 at 40 depth, 7.1 at 627 depth. Now you're seeing it's coming up from the core. If you believe the core is not completely round, something like that, and if we just draw the lines to make it round, right? If the energy that bounced off went here, there's a certain depth between here and here that could create one of these. There's a deeper depth between here and here that creates maybe a stronger quake or a less quake, but super deep. Then there's a little shallower one. Are you saying that reflection off the core of energy, or does somehow the core of the earth push off an energy? And is it on the same place? Does it differ with the spin of the earth?
Well, what my idea, it's the same as a sunspot, how a sunspot works.
Right. Again, that's kind of what I'm trying to dig out of you.
Now we don't know for sure about what's at the center of the sun yet, but the new satellites are seeing down into the corona and the surface of the sun now, and they know that by the newest stuff that I've read about it, they know that the sunspot is generating down inside the surface of the sun, and they know it's coming up and coming out, but they don't know how far down into the sun it's being generated from. But
Right.
I think that the core of the earth, and probably every other planet, every other star, every other whatever, is all the same thing, which is why they have a magnet. They're all magnetically charged. They all have their own.
Right.
And
it's the sun's atmosphere that's on fire doing all of its stuff. The surface is not even near what the atmosphere is going on in the atmosphere.
yeah, but
The core of the sun is different from the atmosphere. And I mean, from what I'd read, and the relationship is not quite known, like our own relationship with our atmosphere. They were thinking, or the scientists were thinking, that everything gets bounced off our magnetosphere back into space, when in fact they've now learned that prior to belief before, where it never touched the crust of the earth, they're now thinking that some of that solar energy is reaching the crust.
yeah, they think it goes in at certain spots now.
Yeah.
Gets absorbed at certain spots, which right now they're saying that's what the South Atlantic anomaly does. If you read all the stuff on it. Which I think that's what that thing,
that dark black thing on Vendusky was.
Yeah, because every time I looked it up, the dates corresponded with when we were getting hit with a solar storm.
Right. Here's Vendusky.
Different people that.
Excuse me. Here's Vendusky. And we're talking about the anomaly that happens right out here from Iceland, basically. It looked like something's happening now, in fact. Going into Lagos, or what do they call it? Was it the sea? Yeah, it's not there now. But they thought it was like big, giant sea wave heights. And that's how it was coming off on this particular program. And it wasn't. There was no giant waves. However, interesting that it was a big glob, and then it disappeared as soon as it got to a certain spot. And that was pretty interesting, to say the least. And then it's far out stuff, man.
And the new satellites must be able to see these magnetic lines that I'm talking about, because they're actually calling them magnetic lineaments again in the new stuff since 2022.
Well, I think we started it here. I just want to take that credit.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think they've been seeing this stuff with the satellites, and they're trying to figure out what the crap it is that they're doing.
What to call it.
And and that's why they're going back to what they originally called them in the the old time geologists did in the 50s and 60s, but
Right.
which they were just identifying it based upon land. But now the new ones are trying to do it with identify everything magnetically. So it ties into everything that they're doing with magnets and
Right.
magnetic dating of everything. So that's what it all relates to. So it's crazy stuff.
I concur with you. I mean, you think poor Japan.
And like I've been studying all those historical earthquakes now for I don't know how long, going way back. Well,
Sure.
then I started looking at them with the triangle thing, and then I realized, look, it's coming three. Like
if you're seeing the quakes come in threes, and you can systematically, your theory. It's a theory right now, and I'm going to give you that theory. I don't understand how it works, and I know it's magnetic. Electromagnetic, as I believe that a lot of these things that are going on are electromagnetic. We have to stay within certain laws so that there's some governance. However, a toroid is kind of turns in on itself and then rolls back out, turns itself inside out and back down. I don't know that there's a whole lot of predictability with it, with a toroid. How that emanates outwardly, vibrationally or electromagnetic, which I think is vibrations. I just said a different terminology. Whether the toroid has enough energy or vibration as a current going through a wire. It's not actually in the wire, but it's around the wire. And because it's around the toroid, that it pushes the crust outward, repelling it or bringing it inward. I don't know how subduction plays into it, or the release of heat from our planet and the cooling of our planet. How all these different factors and so we have to kind of
I think
kind of an open mind to some of these things. You're seeing a pattern, and I can appreciate your pattern, but I don't see it yet.
I think the weather's doing the same thing too.
I think the weather's responding to what's going on internally. And I think earthquakes are a response. They're not the initiator of things. They're the outward appearance of what's going on invisibly and, electromagnetically. And is it just the cracking of rocks? No way. Is it subsidence? Partially. Is it cracking rocks? Partially. Why is it being pushed? Why is the Pacific Ocean? It's not round. It's not even close to being round. It's funky looking. I don't even know. Is it a trapezoid? It's got, and it's underneath in some plates and pushing on other plates. And I love the ice theory that you got. And, that's the observation that you had, because that's the one I share. I can understand that. And watching ice flows, you'll see how plate movement works. You watching ice flows like, oh, geez. Sometimes pushed up on down and they both go the same direction, even though one's on top of the other. It's these things that we talk about is like mine. I talk about the chicken leg. The chicken leg is just an observation of how Mexico and the West Coast interacts with the Pacific plate and the Cocos plate, and quite possibly the Caribbean and the Nazca plate, and being pushed by the, Antarctic Circle, and how all that plays just in the West. The East, it's getting the crap kicked out of it all the time. But because the Pacific plate's moving to the West, which is the East for us, the Far East, there's more activity in the east, not so much in the west. And yet sometimes we see a shitload happen in the west or the east to Japan. Who knows? Boy, it's all confusing how they scientists want to say, oh, it is in the west. Well, okay, the western United States, all right, has a lot of activity. It doesn't have near the activity Japan has. It doesn't have near the activity PNG has, or Vanuatu, or Fiji. I mean, Fiji's popping off all the damn time. I mean, what do we do? And just the observations that you have, I think, drilling down and asking the hard questions so we don't sound like complete fools. Hey, this is an observational thing that we do.
Well, all the radical people sounded crazy at first, so they were proven right.
Well, your triple decker brain, I love it. I love
they just needed more information to prove it, which is basically what I'm trying to do.
Right, which is great, and I'm trying to do it too, and I'm right alongside you. So, and I know you take what I say as a constructive press to look into because sometimes you can see something but not know how to articulate it. But you see it, it's like, well, yeah, but I don't know how to bring it up. How do you?
Well, it's like me trying to explain a toroid and understand what Wally was talking about. But
right
now it's like a tornado. A mantle plume's like a tornado. The top of the sunspot's like a tornado.
Yeah,
it's all like the tornado shape.
I'm inclined to think what's happening here on the planet Earth is like what's happening on the sun.
And they keep finding the same thing now. Once they have the probes and everything and the rovers on the other planets, they're finding out how it works. It's the same way as how it works here. So then they're saying, well, what were we talking about then? So we're not any more unique than these other planets because we aren't.
Nope. We're not.
It still works the same way. That's why they're all round.
Yeah. It's
we don't have a square sun or a square star. We don't have a square planet or whatever, right? So we don't have a bored cube.
I'm not too sure about that. It might not be pointed corners, it might be rounded corners,
which is why the board ships in the new Star Treks are all triangular shaped. That's why.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you a little secret into me. Back in the 70s or 80s, probably, the Borg weren't even there yet, but I was seeing spaceships, squares like cubes.
Yeah, Rubik's cube. They were the four.
It looked just like the damn Borg spaceship. I didn't know what it was. I think it's real. I'm teasing here. Anyway, we're a $1:30 into this evening, and I don't know that we did anything. You want to talk a little bit about what you learned on Iceland today?
Oh, Iceland today. I just watched the video because Isaac was flying his drone around.
Right.
So what he did today, he went up there by the Blue Lagoon. That's where he's flying it from.
Uh-huh.
And so he started. He said. Well, he explained what he was going to do at the start. He said, "I'm going to fly at the northern part of the fissure where it started the last time." And he said, "I'm going to fly it from the north down towards the cone." So that's what he did today. He was only there maybe, I don't know, an hour or 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "I'm going to look at where the fissures all opened up last time and all that." So he flew. I forget how many hit. I think he did about 6 or 7 flights. He had new batteries for the drone.
Oh,
so
good.
He could have it so it would stay up there longer, and he could make it go faster because it had more power. So if he got down too far, he could get it back quicker before it ran out of battery power. But anyway, so he would go in and he'd zoom in on like where the fissures were, and you could see where they were before. Some of them were steaming, some weren't. But like the closer he got down to where Hagafell was, where the big crack is there that everybody's freaking out about, that thing was smoking pretty good. And then he went closer to the cone because that was about the ultimate range he could get, about 3 kilometers he could go with it before he had to like get it to come around and go back. So he was looking like inside the cone, and based upon what he was looking at, he thinks it's like 60 meters down to the bottom of it now.
That's not too much.
Yeah, but it wasn't like smoking or anything in the cone itself yet. But he was looking like at all the different deposits because they're like greenish or yellowish or whatever. So he was looking like where it's come up and made the sulfur.
Well, sulfur.
It's different types of sulfur.
Iron and stuff. Yeah.
So he was looking at all that. So then he flew it back. It was a good day to do it today because it wasn't like windy when it was sunny. So it wasn't like blowing his drone all over and making it so he had to use more power. So it was pretty good. So he was trying out a bunch of new batteries he got for it. I think he had like 6 or 7 of them. And so anyway, so he's supposed to go back and do it again, but he's gonna like announce it before he does it. Oh, and like when he was first took off, he flew over like where they were building the wall at Svartsengi. So they have it way taller.
Oh,
like right where the lava, and they already have the hoses, the big gigantic hoses already set up there already.
Yeah, so they can try to put the fire or cool it down so it will move.
Yeah,
away
so
from
it tries to come over again.
Yeah, they don't want to lose the Blue Lagoon, but
Yeah, he was only on there, I don't know, an hour or 2 hours today, but it was enough for me to see what was going on anyway.
Right.
So that just worked out good that I had time to watch it today because I was doing a bunch of other stuff, but like all over the place.
Well, you're a busy guy like I am, and I really appreciate you spending time with me here on a rabbit hole, and my boy, he passed out. He was tired. He went fishing today.
And another thing, there's
I
forget what they said, 300 or 500. I can't remember if it was 300 or 500. 500 quakes since the start of this week along where the Chinook crater system is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's ramped up since like the start of the week. The quakes there. I think the highest one was 2 something, but
GPS measurements show that the last few days the uplift has slowed down slightly. This, along with the increase of seismicity, has been interpreted to indicate that an intrusion, event, and even eruption could happen very soon. The likelihood of such event occurring the next day has therefore increased. And here's the hazard map right down here. These are the earthquakes, and they think it's going to happen right up in here, the Sunooker. And the last time it went and went over here, it entered right here. But the last one I saw, it hit this wall here, and I don't know how it didn't jump the wall, because this whole area is in a valley, and these things were so close that it came right up to the wall. But hey, whatever.
Because Wilsey there has some guy that sends them all the earthquake data and has it all put on charts and stuff, and he has it going like way back, I think to like way into 2023 or beyond. Right. So he's been sending them all these charts saying, look, this is what it does. It will start out doing a whole bunch of little quakes, and then the day or two before it goes right crazy, and then it goes as soon as the eruption happens, it goes like right down to nothing. And he said it's done it so many times in a row now that's what it's doing.
In the last 6 hours, 77 earthquakes.
Yeah.
In the last 6 hours.
Yeah, it could be any time. Like the people were joking in the chat, like in Isaac's chat, saying, look, he's going to start flying out over that, and the Fisher's going to blow right up through it when he's up there flying out. He said, I hope not, because that would
cost a lot of money.
That would wreck his friggin' drone.
Yeah. Well, he was lucky to get the other one back. That one had died on him.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But there are other guys that lost their drones in the magma.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, whatever.
So he was getting kind of, the people in chat were making him paranoid. So he wasn't like trying to fly directly over the ones that were smoking and stuff. This is he was thinking, maybe I better not do that.
Uh,
Maybe I better stay back here enough that I
well,
can
the
see it. but it's not
majority
there.
of these earthquakes are offshore, down south of Grindavik. There's some offshore down here, working its way through Grindavik all the way up, and then there's some on the next side over here. Like Reykjavik is here, Grindavik's down here, right? Reykjavik. There's some earthquakes happening up here. Unusual. We don't see those too often, but down this rift system, there are quakes up here by Hofskull, and then here's some of the larger volcanoes. Big boys. Right here is Bardabunga. Bardabunga. I love that one. If I had another kid, I'd name him Bardabunga. And here's Grimsvatn, which is a major volcano.
Bardabunga and Cowabunga.
Yeah.
They should have one named that.
I've already done Cowabunga. Yeah. When I was a kid. Askja is right here. So right here, right there, these three are major. But Askja's got some earthquakes around it. Then you got the volcanoes moving on up. So primarily, if you're just looking at the earthquakes themselves, you will see that they're in the Rick James, right? Coming through. The plate boundary being right here, right? Being right there. So they're not very terribly big quakes, but they're relatively shallow, 7.5 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 4.5, under 1. The Askja was at 0.5 kilometer. Askja, 3.5 kilometer. Lewis Fajoy, yeah. But they're not very strong quakes. When we start seeing 2s and 3s, and there's starting to be 100 of them, wherever they're going to be activated, you're going to watch. It's going to happen. It'll happen right there where all the earthquakes happen. And all of a sudden, boop, it'll pop its lid. So I think that's what you're saying. Am I correct?
Yeah, and then you get the Iceland Etna La Palma triangle, which is
right. Anyway,
because I think the volcanoes are the same thing, because there's something that they haven't figured out what it is that makes the plume come up to make it erupt. And
I think everything with a plume has a tentacle all the way into the upper mantle and where the magma is, the reservoir. And I think waves can go underneath, and that there's sometimes space between the mantle and the crust. And I think that it's not 100% solid. There could be water in there. There could be kind of like silly putty or string. What's that string? You spray it, string, silly string. Something kind of like that, with that kind of consistency, but not necessarily like water where it's so liquidy. But the hotter you get it, the more it gets liquidated. And I think some of these larger volcanoes, hotspots especially, are all interconnected. I don't think they're separate. Because you get an earthquake on one side, you can see it happening in those volcanoes. Like, what? How did it feel that? And because I think the tentacles go down, because I think they're like spider webs all the way into the depths of our Earth.
But there's also magnetic lineaments connecting them all. So that's why they do that thing.
Yeah. It's something we can't see. It's something we put out there as saying, this is what we're seeing. Not necessarily with our eyeballs, but through the machines that we use.
Yeah, when I think about it, I'm seeing these things from the satellite data, right? That's what I'm actually seeing. So if I tried to do this 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah. And they're now looking into our atmosphere, not just the far atmosphere or the close atmosphere, but in the middle. They didn't have instruments to check out the middle, and they're learning a ton. They're like, what? So I think the next 10, 15, 20 years, hopefully we're still around. It's interesting, to say the least. I know Nick's a couple years older than me. I think he's only like 2 years older.
Well, to me, we're still going to be around because God is still in control of everything, and He's allowing us to even figure this stuff out. So like we think we're so smart, but
no,
compared to God, we're like dumber
we're
than
dummies, buddy. Come on now. I don't take anything in to be 100% whatever, because always leave the door open in case you're wrong. Yeah. But this is my idea. This is the thought I've got, and this is how I explain it. You explaining it, the triangle thing, and I'm trying to get it, man. I'm trying. I just don't get it.
Well, it's just you haven't seen it all the times yet that I have.
I'm not looking at it the way you are either. You're looking at it a certain way, and I'm not.
Which I'm trying to get you to that point, but
I know you are.
You'd have to look at all these things I'm looking at, like all the
time. Absolutely. And that's why I enjoy our conversations, because I learn something every day, and I appreciate you. Is there anything you want to end this rabbit hole with, other than all the confusion that we've got?
Well, I think everything is confusion, but
yeah,
you just have to
go with the flow.
Have to find it. Go with how the flow goes. So
go with the flow, baby. Don't get none on you. Oh, Japan's coming in again, and Taiwan went first, and then Japan. I don't know, man. Kyushu bombing it, and Shikoku bombing it. Yeah, but it started down in Taiwan.
Yeah, well, right now, if you do the most recent triangles of sevens, that's what it's doing. It's going Philippines, Taiwan, Japan now.
Yeah.
That's what it's doing. If you just go back,
Red Dot Alaska popped you a little baby mammoth. Hey, hello, a mammoth. Mammoth is quiet for I can't tell you how long. Gosh.
But the rest of the year, you're going to find the other things. If we keep getting all these flares and solar storms, it's going to try and catch up on the opposite side of the triangle. Yeah. That's what I found when I started looking up these other things, when they were getting
Timmy.
KP 8s and 9s and 7 storms.
Right. And we're due for a higher KP right now. Definitely a good tonight, fellas, he says, Timmy. I don't know that we ever were on topic, but he got all over the place. There's so much going on in this planet of ours, and if you'd like to be on a rabbit hole, or if you have something that you out there, listener, feel you can prove and enlighten us, send me a line at jsldiscussion@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to entertain those thoughts. You can find us daily at twitch.tv/JoeSlickLive. Often I replay the morning reports on YouTube, unless I don't want to. And there'll be more and more on YouTube, more and more on Facebook. They allow about an hour, and I know we're way past that. We're an hour and 37. So I don't know if it'll work out there, but I want you to know that we're here trying to explain what we're seeing. And if you see something, go ahead. Don't be shy. Come over here to twitch.tv/JoeSlickLive and join the interactive morning groups. And through the day, we monitor this stuff 24/7. There's usually somebody on all the time. Don't believe the numbers that it says there when you're there, because there's a lot of people that don't sign in. And I can see them, but they want their privacy. I just let it go. And it's okay. I don't need to out somebody. We have a good group of people. Everybody's helpful. Everybody is respectful of one another. And I want to thank Timmy, Eden, Simply Sue, Eagles is out there. Kitty Cat, Susan, who I think she went to bed early. Walleye King and my boy Canuck, of course. Beth was out there listening, and Flutter Girl. Shinobi Kun 77 was out there. And so happy Saturday. And remember, don't get none on you. Love you, everybody. Thanks a whole lot. Say good night, Sam.
Good night.
Love you there, buddy. You're a good sport, man. We will talk tomorrow. I will give you a call tomorrow because I want to share with you what I've been doing.
Okay.
So, are you working tomorrow with the kids?
No, I don't have anything